Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a seriously mind-bending theory from our source text. We're talking about a framework that takes everything you know, everything you don't know, and splits all of reality straight down the middle. We're diving into a grand metaphysical concept that categorizes existence into the positive and negative universes. Let's see exactly how this source maps out the cosmos.
To kick things off, just take a quick look around you for a second. Look at your desk, your hands, the walls of the room you're sitting in. Ask yourself, are the tangible items in your everyday life, the things you can actually interact with and measure, the only things that exist? Our source material today argues a definitive no. It proposes that the physical world is only half the story.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with a tale of two universes, move into the positive universe, hit the boundaries of science, cross over into the negative universe, and wrap it all up with reflection and origin. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, A Tale of Two Universes, where we explore dividing reality right in half.
That brings us to Section 2, the positive universe, also known as the realm of the tangible.
So, what exactly is this positive universe? Well, the source defines it strictly as the physical world. Basically, if it's tangible, if you can see it, touch it, or measure it with an instrument, it lives here. And get this, the text explicitly lumps dark matter and dark energy right into this category too. It literally encompasses absolutely everything our scientific instruments can currently detect or even just theorize as matter. The sheer scale of this thing is massive. It groups your own physical body together with everyday stuff like houses, plants, and animals. But it also scales way up to natural phenomena. Think wind, thunder, and lightning. And yeah, even scientific forces like gravity, light rays, magnetism, and radiation are included. You might be thinking, wait, I can't see gravity. True, but since our instruments can measure those forces, they belong solidly to this positive material world.
Now let's zoom all the way in. The absolute golden rule here is this. According to the source, if an entity exists in the universe in the form of elementary particles, it's matter, period. It doesn't matter if we're talking about basic molecules and atoms, or zooming way down into electrons, protons, and neutrons. The text even throws in exotic particles like mesons, hyperons, ferrotrons, and antiparticles. If it takes a particle form, no matter how ridiculously small, it is strictly anchored in this positive world. Because everything we've just talked about relies on measurement and particles, it's entirely governed by empirical observation. The text basically says that the positive universe is the world that can be and ultimately will be explained by science. In this framework, traditional science and the positive universe are totally a match made in heaven.
But what happens when we hit a wall? Let's look at Section 3, the boundaries of science, crossing the threshold.
According to the framework, there's a really fascinating boundary line here. Step 1 is straightforward. Science does a great job explaining the material world of particles. But at Step 2, when science tries to push past those physical particles to explain the non-material, things get a little tricky. At Step 3, the source argues it actually stops being science altogether and transforms into what they call anti-science or superscience.
And here is where the categorization gets super specific, and honestly pretty bold. Impartially reporting on the text here, it categorizes all religions and anything society generally brushes off as superstition straight into this unexplainable, super-scientific threshold. Because these concepts deal with the non-material, they inherently sit completely outside the bounds of traditional particle-measuring science.
All right, now we flip the script entirely. Section 4, the negative universe, the unseen anti-world.
This is the mirror opposite of everything we just covered. The negative universe is defined as the anti-world. It's the realm of supermatter. It is completely intangible. You can't see it, hear it, touch it, or measure it with any gadget. It does not exist as elementary particles at all. But, and this is a real game changer for the theory, these non-particle energies still actively affect and interact with our physical world.
When you look at the scope of this negative universe, it's a wild list. It clusters together the most profound, intangible parts of the human experience. We're talking fundamental abstract concepts like time, space, and universal laws. It houses the mind and spirit, literally listing consciousness, the soul, the origins of inspiration, and even things like telepathy and dream scenes. Plus, it includes all divine or esoteric life forms. Since absolutely none of these are made of elementary particles, they're classified as antimatter living in the negative universe.
To really ground this idea, the text points to ancient Taoist philosophy. It quotes, "The fantasy is no fantasy, and the reality is no reality. The seeable is not usable, and the usable is not seeable.
This ancient wisdom perfectly anchors the modern framework we're looking at. It's essentially suggesting that the invisible energies, the stuff we might usually write off as just fantasy or empty space, could actually be the most vital, functional parts of reality.
Think about your own day-to-day life for a second. The source points out that while the positive universe is super easy to grasp through science, this negative universe is incredibly slippery. Right now, it represents that hazy intuition, that random flash of inspiration, or that deep spiritual feeling you just can't put under a microscope. It can only be felt vaguely by people, firmly remaining way beyond the reach of scientific explanation.
So how in the world do these two totally opposite halves of reality actually coexist? Let's wrap things up with Section 5, Reflection and Origin, bringing the two worlds together.
This side-by-side comparison reveals the text's ultimate and probably most surprising takeaway. In the positive universe, everything is constantly moving, changing, being born and dying. But over in the negative universe, everything exists in a relatively eternal state. And here's the kicker. The text claims the negative universe is the actual origin of matter, meaning the measurable world of birth and death is completely subservient to this eternal, unseen anti-world.
The source drops this incredibly provocative idea. Our tangible reality is totally secondary. The physical world, the houses, the atoms, the weather, even our own bodies is merely a reflection. It's just a projection generated by the invisible anti-world. According to this framework, the unmeasurable mind, spirit, and esoteric forces are the true drivers pulling the strings, projecting our physical world into existence.
Talk about a paradigm shift, right? As we close out this explainer, I want to leave you with a lingering thought. If this theory holds up, and the physical world you see around you is literally just a reflection, which universe are your thoughts, your consciousness, and your beliefs operating in right at this very second? It's something to chew on as you go about your day. Thanks so much for exploring this with us, and keep questioning the reality around you.